Hi, I'm here today with Norm Eygenraam, and yes, we have the same last name. He's my dad. I am so excited to have him as part of the book, We Are All Made of Love, that is releasing February 2nd, 2022. It's a vulnerable, heartfelt collection that'll help restore your faith in humanity and remind you of the true reason that we're all here, transcending all odds through love, connected as one with each other, and made of love. And I'll just read you Norm's bio for a minute. Norm Eygenraam runs a small manufacturing business in Palmerston, Ontario, with 7 amazing employees. The spiritual path he has been on recently continues to be full of twists and turns and surprises. He's grateful for the opportunity to be part of this book to explore the impact of that journey and reach new heights of adventure and service. One of those surprises has been acquiring his first horse, Rocky. The powerful and soul connecting bond has been an inspiration for a book they published in 2021 to share their partnership and journey. And you can find that at tinyurl.com/many trails. The two pieces Norm has in this book are the hummingbird, a hummingbird says thank you, which is in the chapter Love Beyond Sight, and My Spiritual Diet, which is in the chapter about spiritually connected. So thank you so much for being here, Norm. I'm so grateful that you can join us. So did you want to tell us a little bit about your pieces in the book and why you felt compelled to write them and share them? I know your hummingbird piece we also included in another book as like a little anecdote of your experience in the greenhouse book that we published in 2017. And so in this book you go into a little bit more detail about it, so clearly it was a very impactful special moment for you. So did you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, and thanks for the opportunity of doing this. The um, the story about what happened with that hummingbird, when I reflect back on it now, was way beyond I or way before I had actually started this journey of realizing how everything is one and everything is connected with love. When I saved that little hummingbird from heat stroke, this was just a really awesome experience. It was just like really cool where this little being sat on my finger and sort of came back to life and then just paused for a moment to say thank you before it left. Now, like with everything that I've learned since then, this is still a really neat um opportunity event that was in my life, but now it's sort of in the context of everything being as one. And so when, not that I'm going to say it's really not that big of a deal, like it was still really nice. Um, but it prepared me for a lot of other interactions, like the interaction that I have with my horse, the interaction that I have with um, like the people that come into my life, the people that create opportunities in my life. And by just, it helped me to open up. And that is something that I talk about in my second piece that I've written about the spiritual diet. Um, Before I was able to really appreciate the possibilities, I had to be open to it. And that, without being open to it, none of that would have happened. And so the the hummingbird incident was sort of a precursor to that. And I really didn't see the value in it at the time because I didn't know that these opportunities existed. So the the piece of the spiritual diet really is in in line with where I'm at now in my personal growth journey. And it's sort of a fun analogy, like we've all gone through times where we really need to lose a few pounds. And but when it really comes down to it, what weighs us down emotionally is a much bigger burden on our daily lives. And so I'm grateful that I had the opportunity of coming to this awareness. And also, I think it's a contribution that I can make that, everybody will see some value in.
Well, it's a neat little metaphor that you explore, and um it's almost like a little playbook, if you will, that says, like, these are some tips of how to lose your spiritual heaviness, right? Like
Yeah.
the weighing down and whatever. And so it's really, it's a neat way to approach things. And I know it's sort of a precursor to the next book that you're working on as well, which hopefully will be released at some point soon.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like a little bit of a teaser for your other book. And you've had the opportunity to be in all the different collaboration books that I've done. So this is like your fourth collaboration book that you've been able to be part of. And you've been able to sort of see the process develop and grow over time. And one of the things that a lot of the authors are also talking about is about the process that I've taught in the workshops and things as well, which I know has helped you with a lot of your writing and with coming up with sermons and stuff like that, to be able to
Yeah.
connect in the flow. And did you want to chat a little bit about that?
Uh, yeah, but the first thing I just want to take one more moment to emphasize is that this piece that I've written about the spiritual diet depicts some of the thoughts that I went through, some of the emotions, some of the things that I figured out. And this is definitely not intended to be a how to. Um, like, this is what you're supposed to do to achieve this, because everyone's journey is extremely unique, which is really an interesting idea, because everybody is so unique and yet everybody is one.
Yeah.
And
Well, and
and
we can
so
only talk from our experience. And it's there's so many different experiences of people in this book that it's people can take little snippets from different ones and take what they need in order to build their own practice and their own
exactly.
healing. And one of the comments that I've received throughout this process is how healing writing all these different pieces have been for the different authors. And so putting that energy into the book, I'm confident that people are going to find what they need in the book as well. And and that's the same goes with your spiritual diet. Is it's you give this process of how you came to be where you're at. And it's, I know that people will be able to like take some of the snippets and connect to that to be able to improve their own. Maybe it's the reminder that people need to how important gratitude is, that kind of idea. So
Yeah. Yeah, the process for me really did start with gratitude, and this is something that I've been doing now for almost 7 years, like religiously every day, where I write something down from the previous day that I'm grateful for and spend a little bit of time reviewing. Because, again, like as I mentioned a few minutes ago about being open, like when readers read what I've written, what the other authors have written, again, it is our hope that people will have a little light bulb moments go on, where, like, and open to different possibilities. And so that when they're open to that, when they see the possibilities, they can then be inspired to carry on. And for me also, writing has been a very therapeutic means of connecting with myself, but it is also very awe-inspiring when I start writing something, and then you just start writing and writing and writing, and all of a sudden you look back on it and you say, where did that come from? And to realize how, this process of being channeled, and that is extremely empowering as well. Like when, Andy mentioned about me doing sermons, and I I've done that quite often where I feel like what I have to say has been channeled. And then that is very empowering as I stand in front of a group of people or contribute a piece to a book, when these are not my words. These these I've been meant to convey to the greater audience. And that is really something that is encouraging me to do more, to go to the next book and to the next book and write the next piece, because everybody gets a little bit from each of those, and you can collectively contribute to the journey that everybody is on.
Well, and
That's
that's one of the things I love about doing these collaboration books is there is so many different perspectives and so many different experiences and views and things that people can connect with in one place. It's the theme of "We are all made of love" ended up being interpreted in so many different beautiful ways, and it was is a really neat experience. And so, it's how has your experience been? Being part of the different collaboration books and having the greenhouse book published, and then most recently your Rocky book published, and how does that feel?
it's I have a bit of a feeling of awe when I get feedback for how the words connect to people. And excuse me, that at first, when you start to write, you think, well, I'm not good enough for this. And then when you become open to it and you start writing some things, and then you get some feedback as to, this that phrase touched me, or that image touched me. Um and you realize that the words on paper are much more permanent than just words that are um spoken. And it's when you put something down on paper that is there for the record, that for however long that book lasts, that that's one of the takeaways that I have from each of these books that I've contributed to, where I'm contributing to something that is there for, shall we say, eternity. However, um, even the book doesn't have to be yeah, it's wonderful if it's a bestseller, but it's just feels really good to know each time you connect with somebody. And that's what motivates me to keep doing these pieces, and to really see value in it.
Well, it was exciting when you were able to publish your own book last year as well. And or I guess, well, it's going to be last year when this is released, but this year currently as we're recording it.
Yeah.
And so, did you want to tell us about that book a little bit before we wrap things up?
So yeah, in the journey that I had, or and that I am having with my horse. This is the first horse I've ever had. Um, he went through some very serious health issues, and we connected on a very spiritual level. So that I work from the premise that he understands every single word that I say, and just to be able to interact with a being on that level is very inspiring. And like, it's just, we've gone through so much together, and in a way it was almost like a precursor, a preparation for myself, having had a heart attack during that process. And so I helped him heal from his issues. He could heal me from my issues, because one of the, like, the major thing that I give Rocky thanks for is the peace that he has brought to my life. I am so busy with so many different things, and we're all busy. We know that we need to slow down. And Rocky has physically done things where he just kind of almost put himself in front of me, like, as in to say, stop, you need to just slow down. And it's amazing feeling to have, a horse looking out after me.
What's your
And
book called?
many trails still to explore. And it's a sign, or it's a reference to all of the places that we have already been, but it's also a reference to not knowing what the future will hold and what we could be possibly exploring together, both physical trails, physical places to visit, but also, mental and spiritual places, connections that, um, I'm open to possibilities, and we'll see where it goes.
Well, and I know you have a website that you're sort of working on and adding a few little things to at normaneigenram.com, and that link will be below as well. And that's one way that you can contact Norm. Did you want to share any other ways to contact them? I know you're not really in the social media world or anything like that, but if somebody wanted to pre-order a book from you because they've really connected to what you've said today, or if they want to share some feedback or let you know how your pieces in the book touch them, how would they reach you?
Well, the best way to reach me would be with email. Um, on the one hand, like, email is simple because you can connect whenever. But I still, uh, when there are meaningful issues to be discussed, then it's always done verbally. But connecting is through email is easy. Yeah, like as Andy said, like with everything I've got going on in my life, I haven't had, or I haven't made time for things like Instagram. I'm very seldom on Facebook and stuff like that. Um,
Would you say your normeigenram@gmail.com is the best way to reach you then?
yeah, that would be
Awesome.
that would be good.
And now, if you wanted to sort of have a key message or key takeaway that people could really connect to, either with your pieces or with you as who you are as a human, how would people reach? Like, what would you like to leave people with? What message would you like to leave people with?
Two things that it starts with. One is being grateful. As I mentioned in my spiritual diet piece, gratitude is like the superfood. And the other thing is just being open to the possibilities. You know, we, as human beings, we like to put things in a box, but you need to get out of the box and you need to be open to the possibilities. And when you're open to the possibilities, life really can get exciting. That's what I would really like everyone that reads this book to take away from this, is when you're open to possibilities, life really can get exciting and rewarding.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Again, the book is We Are All Made of Love, and it is a collection of pieces to help restore your faith in humanity, one story at a time. And it releases February 2nd, 2022. And we're super excited to be able to have you support us on launch day and to be able to connect with all of the pieces and the authors in the book, including Norm. So thank you for being here today, Dad. And I appreciate your time.
Thank you for the opportunities.